people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Okay, we'll start with this. It appears that towards the end of the month, on the 30th, Australia's own Taylor Robertson will be returning to action internationally. This fight ain't going down in Australia. It's going down north of the border in Canada. A couple of weeks ago, maybe a little over a month, we talked about how Lee Baxter Promotions bought Australia's own Taylor Robertson into the fray. You know, in Australia, she's promoted by Tasman Fighters, but in Canada, she's promoted by Lee Baxter.
That bastard.
What'd you call him that for?
Because it rhymed.
It's very good of young Taylor Robertson, who's only 24 years old, to expand her horizons, see the world beyond the domestic scene over there in Australia. She will be sharing the ring with Mexico's own Alejandra Soto Martinez.
Veteran journeywoman who sports a professional record of 8 wins with 7 losses and 1 draw.
3 knockouts to Taylor Robertson's 7 wins with 1 loss and no draws.
2 knockouts.
Alejandra Soto Martinez, in spite of being a journeywoman, she's got about 16 pro bouts, 16 pro fights. That's more rounds in the bank than Taylor Robertson.
Taylor Robertson, who not that long ago was campaigning up there at bantamweight, having suffered her first professional loss to Shotgun Shannon O'Connell, her countrywoman and an experienced veteran, she has since moved down to super flyweight and put distance between herself and that initial loss.
There's no shame in Taylor having lost that fight to Shannon, because at the time Shannon was vastly more experienced than young Taylor. That was approximately 4 or 5 fights ago. Taylor Robertson, she's currently on a 4-fight winning streak.
He was very recently in Las Vegas, Nevada, rubbing elbows with Michaela Mayer and Shernika Johnson, Nico Ali Walsh.
In preparation for this upcoming fight with Martinez, Taylor Robertson, you know, when she started out, she had the look of a more cerebral fighter, a finesse fighting kind of fighter that wants to slow a fight down and take their time, pick their punches. But over time,
She's showing more spite.
more aggression and more ability mid-range to inside, in the pocket.
Within striking distance.
Very intelligent of Taylor Robertson to become more fluid in the phone booth. You don't want to be limited to boxing from the outside and having to beat your feet, fighting at a safe distance. At some point, you're going to have to stand your ground. And it looks like Taylor Robertson's been working on that. She's one of these fighters like Amy Timlin.
Yeah, some years ago, Amy Timlin had the look of a outside fighter, a fighter who's limited to fighting from the outside. But these days, she's showing more spite. She's showing more aggression, just like Taylor.
Sometimes boxing from the outside ain't gonna cut it. Sometimes you've got to step into your punches, get mid-range to inside, and show the other girl what for.
Yeah.
It's what a lot of people are demanding that Australia's own Sky Nicholson do more of. Box on the inside. Don't just beat your feet, staying on the outside, throwing 1 and 2 punches at a time.
Come on.
Show some action. Taylor Robertson's gonna be in action on the 30th opposite the ring Martinez, who last saw action in July of last year.
It's been a while.
Whereas Taylor was a little bit more prolific. She fought 3 times last year, more recently in November of last year, towards the tail end of it. This will be her first fight of this year.
Towards the tail end of this month.
She's hit the ground running. She's already got 2 fights on schedule. The one towards the tail end of this month, then she's supposed to be returning to action in July.
Against an opponent that has yet to be announced.
Given the amount of time from one fight to the other, I'd wager that, this upcoming fight with Martinez, it's a keep busy fight to keep the tools sharp en route to what could be a bigger fight, perhaps a fight for some kind of title, maybe a regional title, maybe even a full title.
Yeah, maybe.
It's about 3 months in between those 2 fight dates. I imagine that what's supposed to be the fight in July is contingent upon the victory this month.
Barring illness or injury.
I imagine that Taylor Robertson's fight in July is contingent upon her winning this month.
Winning this fight.
I like the schedule that young Taylor Robertson's on. She's only 24 years old. She's got all the time in the world, but she's making very very good use of it, not only expanding her horizons, but staying busy, staying active.
It's a little hard to pronounce her name because there's an H at the end instead of an R.
What?
She's a good fighter.
A really good fighter who is already making the kinds of adjustments we'd like to see from Sky Nicholson. You know, being more down and dirty, showing more spite, more aggression.
She's going to be in action later on this month on the 30th. Keep your eyes peeled for that. North of the border.
In Canada.
Usyk, you little shithouse. You proper little shitbag. Bog-eyed, gappy-teethed, ugly little rat bastard. You little slimy fucker. Tried all week to get out of it, begging for a rematch like a little girl. You got your rematch and didn't even want to fight at that. You little shithouse pussy. Always know, pussy, that you was never man enough to tangle with the Gypsy King. Ever in your life, you little shithouse. You little 14-stone coward. You little shitbag, you rat little bastard. And your full team know it as well. And all the lawyers have got the full information. You little ugly bastard. Keep running. Fight Dubois at the copper box now, shitbag. And always know that you or anybody else like you could never tangle with the Gypsy King, you shithouse little coward.
And so the smear campaign to drag Alexander Usyk's name in the mud begins. I told you, Tyson Fury's going to make these negotiations near impossible. So much so that the Usyk people might decide to walk away altogether and absolve themselves of this situation. And as soon as they do, he's going to wrap this around their neck and blame them.
Never mind all the obstacles he put up himself.
Never mind that one of the sticking points was that Alexander Usyk was willing to accept Tyson Fury's 70-30 split so long as Tyson would accept the same in reverse. But apparently Tyson wanted half the pot, even if he loses.
Even if Alexander Usyk beats him and becomes this division's undisputed champion, having already beaten Anthony Joshua 2 times and Fury in that scenario.
Tyson Fury's still supposed to get half?
Let the spin job begin.
Fury's already gotten started, as has his promoter Frank Warren, who stated, "I genuinely thought he said he wanted. He don't care about money. He just wants to fight for the 4 belts, but he pulled out of the fight. You can dress it up."
Well, didn't he accept his end of the deal in Saudi Arabia?
And didn't he accept Tyson Fury's proposed 70-30 split, which was a bit too lopsided for my tastes, by the way?
Never mind me, because Usyk accepted it, didn't he?
And didn't Tyson Fury, with only 5 weeks to go, 5 days out from the proposed April 29th fight date, didn't he decide to change the terms of engagement, proposing that there be no rematch clause?
Only 5 weeks out from the fight.
Only 5 weeks out from April 29th, when all of this was supposed to be going down. And it's the funniest thing because
with only 5 weeks to go until that proposed April 29th fight date, what if I told you that Sugar Hill Stewart wasn't even preparing Tyson Fury for a fight?
What if I told you that the only reason Sugar Hill Stewart is in the United Kingdom right now is because Lawrence O'Coley, his other fighter, is fighting? That Sugar Hill Stewart hasn't been preparing Tyson Fury for a fight?
What if I told you that? You know what? Never mind me. What if Sugar Hill Stewart told you that?
I'm focused on Lawrence. That's what I came here for.
Did you hear that? He's focused on Lawrence. That's what he came there for.
I'm focused on Lawrence. That's what I came here for.
You're not there for Fury?
I'm happy everybody's asking this at this time, too, because it's like, I'm here for Lawrence. I came over here for Lawrence. I've been in training camp with Lawrence the whole time.
You have? Well, what about Luke? What about Tyson Fury?
It just so happens there's negotiations and talks about a Tyson Fury at Usyk fight, and then we come into Manchester and we go use Tyson's gym to go train, which obviously that's where I'm going to go because that's like home for me, and I'm comfortable there. And then we come down here to take care, right at fight week, and to continue training and to prepare for this fight.
Sugar Hill Stewart is currently in the UK because Lawrence O'Coley, Lawrence of Arabia, will be fighting David Fleshlight this weekend.
He's telling you he's not there for Fury.
So it's almost like the perfect storm to be like, oh, Sugar's here now, and it's time, yeah, it's happening. And I'm like, I'm here for Tyson knows what I'm here for. I'm here for Lawrence. Tyson was in the gym with us, but I didn't train Tyson. We didn't do pads. We didn't do anything like with Usyk or, I'm training Lawrence.
So, if only 5 weeks out from that proposed April 29th fight date, Sugar Hill Stewart wasn't actually training Fury for that fight. He wasn't preparing him for that fight. And you heard what he said. If he wasn't training him and he wasn't preparing him, why am I supposed to believe that Fury was going to fight him?
Or that he was serious about fighting him, that he was serious about fighting him all this time when he wasn't even training, when he wasn't even preparing to fight him.
How am I supposed to believe that when his own trainer says he wasn't preparing him to fight him?
If Tyson Fury's been carrying on the way he's been carrying on the last 2 or 3 weeks without training for an Usyk fight, all that tells me is...
What that tells me is you were sabotaging that fight. You weren't getting ready to participate in a fight. You were sabotaging one. That's what that tells me, irrespective of the spin job.
I'm supposed to believe that you were serious about fighting Usyk with under 5 weeks to go, having not started training for it?
Yeah, fucking right.
You've got to be some kind of special kind of fucking stupid to believe Tyson Fury and Frank Warren. You've got to be some special kind of idiot to believe that these guys were serious about fighting him.
This was a sophisticated duck. A sabotage. And a sabotage that occurred right on time for Tyson Fury to start calling somebody else. It's not a coincidence that this fight has fallen apart a little over a week out from Anthony Joshua's fight with Jermaine Franklin.
You think that's a coincidence?
It's not. While Frank Warren says the money is in Tyson Fury, we've got hardcore boxing fans, but the people that make the money are crossing over to the guy in the street who don't know who's got what belts. They know who Tyson Fury is. They don't really know who Usyk is.
Bullshit.
Alexander Usyk has been playing the UK audiences for the last, 2 or 3 years? The Tony Bellew fight, the Derek Chisora fight, all box office fights. The last 2 Anthony Joshua fights, both that brought in over $1 million apiece, and you're trying to convince me that those Brits don't know who that guy is?
Bullshit.
On one of the biggest platforms in the United Kingdom.
Opposite the ring, one of the biggest names in UK boxing, Anthony Joshua, 2 times his last 2 fights, and you're telling me that they don't know him, they don't know Usyk.
Bullshit.
You expect me that your fighter was serious about fighting this guy 5 weeks out from camp? He's not even linked up with his head trainer yet to start getting ready for the fight. You expect me to believe that?
Bullshit.
It's fucking bullshit.
More of Tyson Fury's patented brand of fucking bullshit.
It's bullshit.
Frank Warren added, it's unclear following the collapse of the Usyk fight what Fury's going to do next. He suggested that Fury might even retire again. Everything is too raw at the moment. Listen, he may retire. I don't know what he wants to do. He'll do whatever he wants to do.
You mean like swerving Alexander Usyk to start calling out the man Usyk beat already? The man Usyk beat 2 times?
Is that what you mean? You mean sabotaging the undisputed title fight so that you can chase around Anthony Joshua again a week from now? Because that's what I expect. The timing of this fight's collapse is not a coincidence. This fight collapsed right on time.
Yep.
Just a little over a week out from Anthony Joshua's next fight. And after that fight, if Anthony wins, who do you think Tyson Fury's going to start calling out?
Guess who?
It's not a coincidence. It's not a fucking coincidence.
Fury's shenanigans are getting more and more predictable, more monotonous. You could set your watch by this schmuck's shenanigans.
Anthony Joshua shouldn't give him the out. He shouldn't give him the time of day. If he goes in there and he splatters Jermaine Franklin, he shouldn't entertain any conversations about a Fury fight.
How do you think Tyson Fury plans on making it up to the boxing community at large in the UK? How do you think he plans on making it up to them that most of them feel he sabotaged the Usyk fight? How do you think he means to get back in their good graces? He's gonna start bringing up Anthony Joshua again. Wait and see.
Tyson Fury expects me and you to believe that Team Usyk will never have a problem dealing with anybody, never have a problem making a fight with anybody.
Because they're so fucking scared of you.
Don't you see what this is? You made the negotiations near impossible. You made them as difficult as they possibly could be. So much so that the Team Usyk people decided, you know what, we've wasted enough time on this. We're moving on. And as soon as they move on, you want to wrap this around their neck. You want to blame them.
We saw this last year.
When Tyson Fury made what was supposed to be the Anthony Joshua negotiations near impossible, setting unnecessary time constraints and deadlines, knowing that a fight this size involving 2 separate promoters and 2 separate platforms, it does take time.
You didn't want to give them that.
You did to Anthony Joshua last year what you just did to Alexander Usyk this year. You made the negotiations near impossible.
So that as soon as they collapse, you can point the finger at the other guy.
Now, Alexander Usyk, he's got to satisfy his mandatory, and Daniel Dubois, Daniel who says just speed, belief, youth, and strength. He's never faced a fighter like me or been hit by a fighter like me. I think I can knock him out.
And bring them belts back.
Usyk's gonna have to satisfy his mandatory challenger and Daniel Dubois, and Tyson Fury can once again resume to coattail Anthony Joshua's name for press.
He's gonna try to make people forget that he sabotaged the undisputed title fight by calling out Anthony Joshua.
That's what he's gonna do. Just you wait and see. In a little over a week's time. Like clockwork.
And that Hearn himself isn't helping that situation.
He isn't. Eddie Hearn earlier today took to his social media and stated, if Fury versus Usyk doesn't get made and AJ gets past Franklin, Fury versus AJ, Wilder versus Usyk, winner versus winner, for undisputed.
You come out volunteering Anthony Joshua's name like that when he hasn't even gotten past Jermaine Franklin yet. You come out volunteering his name for a Fury fight. You make it that much easier for Fury to waste more of your time.
And you're almost rewarding him for sabotaging the Usyk fight. No, you shouldn't be able to get away with it. You don't get to swerve Alexander Usyk in a fight with him to fight the guy that he just beat 2 times.
You're giving him an out.
Is that what you want? To give him further opportunity to drag your fighter's name in the mud for a set of negotiations that may or may not result in a fight.
Come on, Eddie.
You shouldn't even be placing any pressure on Anthony Joshua to take on any particular fighter at a time when he ain't got no belts, he ain't got no mandatories. For the first time in Anthony Joshua's career, he's free to set his sights on whatever he wants to set his sights on. Keep his own schedule, be on his own time, not somebody else's, and you volunteer him for a Fury fight immediately after the Franklin fight.
He hasn't even won the Franklin fight yet. He's breaking in a new trainer. He is in an experimental phase in his corner, and before he even goes out there and splatters the guy, you volunteer him for a Fury fight?
Eddie Hearn has got to do better. In fact, by now, Eddie Hearn should know better. You want to kick off another long, drug-out set of negotiations with Fury, who's wasted your time before. You want to give him another opportunity to waste your time again.
Enough already. Enough with the Wilder stuff. Enough with the Fury stuff.
Enough already. Your fighter's on the bounce. Your fighter's on the rebound. You want your fighter to be a busier fighter this year than he was in previous years. And a part of the reason that he wasn't as busy as he could have been is because he was involved in long, drug-out negotiations.
Do you remember you were supposed to do the fight with Fury? That long, drug-out set of negotiations, and just as things are about to kick off, the arbitrator rules in Wilder's favor, and all your legwork,
all the work you did to try to make that Joshua versus Fury fight come into fruition went in the garbage.
Stop giving his fat bag of pussing out to use your fighter's name for press, because that's what you're doing.
Fury's in a pinch. You're not fighting Alexander Usyk, and there aren't that many marquee fighters left for you to fight. You already did what you could do with Wilder
3 times.
You actually had the audacity to conjure up Derek Chisora for a 3rd fight, having already won the first 2 fights on the premise that you wanted to keep busy fight en route to an Usyk fight. An Usyk fight that didn't even fucking happen.
So you did what you could with Wilder, you did what you could with Derek. Things fell apart with Usyk.
And you ain't got Joe Joyce to turn to because Joe Joyce is going to be in action next month on the 15th. That leaves only Anthony Joshua.
Oh yeah, there's talk about an Andy Ruiz fight, even a potential 4th Wilder fight.
But Anthony's name shouldn't be in the mix of that conversation. You shouldn't be able to swerve the guy that beat Anthony so you can go ahead and fight Anthony. You should let this fucker starve.
Fuck him.
Let the prick go fight Deontay Wilder for a 4th time and see if anybody cares. Let him fight Andy Ruiz.
Yeah, you're the biggest name in British boxing. You should be able to sell out a stadium with that one. Go ahead.
Make the fight, you fat bag of fucking milk.
Make the fight.
Because you think you're too big for Usyk. You think you're too big for Undisputed. Well, let's see how big you are without Anthony Joshua.
Without someone else to help you sell it. Let's see what Tyson Fury really draws.
I expect that in a little over a week's time, should Anthony beat Jermaine Franklin, Tyson Fury's going to start up with the same stuff he was doing late last year. That's what he's going to do.
And Anthony should tell him to piss off if he does.
You ruined Undisputed for the fans, and you're trying to make them forget.
You ruined it 2 times.
Don't give this fucker another out.
Let him starve.